Good, happy Friday morning, March 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's begin. First up, COVID-19 in New Hampshire. Let's take a look. 44 number of people in New Hampshire who have tested positive for COVID-19. 242,191 number of people worldwide who have tested positive. 2 number people hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 176 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. 9,843 number of deaths from COVID-19 worldwide. 9 people in Grafton have it, 4 in Carroll, 3 in Belmont, 2 in Merrimack, 8 in Hillsborough, and 18 in Rockingham. Your common symptoms are fever, cough, and difficult breathing, how it spreads, and prevention tips. New Hampshire officials announced aid for small businesses health system. 5 new cases found. $50 million fund established to help hospitals and healthcare providers. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
I'm your Century Roofing foreman.
And I'm customer service.
And I'm the installer.
We're the Century Roofing team. Call us today.
Century Roofing, we got you covered.
5 more positive tests in New Hampshire tonight. 44 Granite Staters are now infected with COVID-19. Most of the cases involving people who travel domestically or internationally.
It is critically important, and I want to stress this again, for people to stay home if they are sick.
State epidemiologist Dr. Benjamin Chan says the availability of test kits is increasing, and 1,400 Granite Staters have been tested. But, as is the case nationally, barriers remain, as some still struggle to figure out if they have the virus. Chan says there's a lack of the equipment used to take samples from patients.
There's a need to potentially prioritize testing for those who are more seriously ill, for example, people who are hospitalized, and those who are at risk of spreading it further within our communities. So I'm thinking healthcare workers.
Governor Chris Sununu spoke about the potential for a long road ahead. To meet that challenge, the state is setting up a $50 million fund to boost healthcare providers. Through short-term, no-interest loans, hospitals will be able to meet a possible surge in patients by having access to funds.
We have to support the entire system, top down, so that individuals can receive the best care possible from the ground up. We must ensure our system has solvency and cash flow and will not let the doors of help be shut to anyone.
There are still 800 tests pending in the state of New Hampshire, many of them from at-risk populations and people working on the front lines. Reporting live in Concord, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Dover Deli hands out free meals for kids. Local offer donations and community effort. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Gene Mackin.
Join Girls Inc. of New Hampshire to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. You can take part in our Girls Inc. 2020 initiative by The tables that used to fill up with a lunchtime crowd inside Katz's Deli and Market have been replaced by a new kind of takeout. Free bags of food for kids.
They don't have to ask, they don't have to say anything. I've got that sign out there, it's pretty self-explanatory, so the kids come in, they see it, they grab a bag.
It's Mike Katz's way to help children who might be hungry while schools are closed.
We're doing about 7 or 8 a day every day. Today was a big day, we went through about 15.
It's all the staples, fresh fruit as well, sometimes a personal request thrown in. Word spread quickly in Dover, where Mike's wife is a school teacher.
Quite a few customers have dropped off a bag of food here and there. A couple of customers have brought in some money to put towards this. So it's really been a community effort, people helping out. The Dover Moose Lodge donated some funding.
The Dover school system is starting to deliver meals right along the school bus routes, but Mike has always wanted to fill the need, even long before this. In fact, he's been doing this for years, every summer.
I started putting bags together for the kids all summer long so that they could come in and they could get food.
It's how business is done at Katz's. There's even a pay it forward wall. Go ahead and grab an item another customer already paid for, and if you can someday, well, pay it forward.
You know, I just like to give back to the community. It's the way I was brought up, and I think it's really important.
In Dover, Jean Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Some Salem firefighters quarantined after possible exposure to COVID-19. Department awaits for test results as firefighters remain in isolation. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Join Girls Inc. of New Hampshire to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. You can take part in our Girls Inc. 2020 initiative by...
We have them isolated in one of our fire stations.
3 Salem firefighters are spending the night in quarantine after responding to nearly 36 calls in which people showed symptoms of COVID-19. During 2 of those calls, their chief says the crews were not wearing protective gear.
Everything rapidly occurred when they arrived on scene, and they just weren't able to maintain that physical distancing and right off and get their protective equipment put in place.
The chief says the firefighters were taken off duty immediately after believing they were exposed. 4 other firefighters, who also had contact with symptomatic patients, have already been cleared and returned to work after tests for the virus came back negative. The scare, symbolic of the risks first responders currently face.
We want to stress that if you believe that you have COVID-19 or you have symptoms of that, you should contact your healthcare provider first before you call an ambulance. You should be only calling an ambulance if you're in extreme distress or a life-threatening situation.
AMR of Manchester says the fear of exposure has led to daily checks on staff's mental and physical health. City firefighters are also trying to cope while being extra cautious on the job.
It's affecting our firefighters. It's just affecting their home life. We're just moving forward as we do every day, and we just take a little bit more precautions.
Meanwhile, the 3 firefighters here in Salem can only sit and wait in isolation. The fire chief tells me that they aren't entirely sure as to when the test results will come back for the patient that they were exposed to. Reporting live tonight in Salem, Tyler Dumont, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Some New Hampshire businesses struggle to stay open during COVID-19 outbreak. Some businesses lay off staff, others work to limit crowds. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Andy Hirschberger.
Why choose Century Roofing? You've met my team, the best in the business. Is a lifetime warranty good enough for you? And payment options Financing is available, and we accept all credit cards.
We got you covered.
Dave Vashon on Manchester's west side has been around forever. But even this landmark restaurant is taking a beating from the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, it's crazy. We've lost 75-80% of our business within a matter of days. We had to lay off all our employees. We're here, me and my wife, keeping the place open.
Perkins says he's feeding employees when they stop in, and they're doing takeout and deliveries, trying to stay open. It's just not something that we've really ever seen. It's a Thursday afternoon in the middle of March in Manchester, the state's largest city, and there's hardly anybody walking around. At Queen City Cupcakes, they've seen less foot traffic, but they've also seen a bigger hit.
Our big thing is the catering. We do a ton of catering that had to be canceled, and we understand that. So, there was a lot of refunds in the beginning of this week, which hurt.
Stoddard says while the cupcake business remains open, a gift shop they have a few doors down on Elm Street has temporarily closed. At Parliament Barber Shop on Chestnut, you can still get a cut.
I haven't had many cancellations, but Saturdays we usually do walk-ins, and I think we're going to stay away from doing that because then we don't want people grouping up in here.
They're also accepting less cash, hoping to move to an online payment app. So like most places in the city, they're adjusting and getting by, hoping things get back to normal sooner rather than later. In Manchester, Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Grocery suppliers work to keep up with high demand amid COVID-19 outbreak. Employees working overtime to meet customer demand. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Jessica Moran.
Join Girls Inc. of New Hampshire to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. You can take part in our Girls Inc. 2020 initiative by bidding on awesome auction items right now. Go to girlsincnewhampshire.org to bid on hundreds of great items like vacation packages, concert tickets, Red Sox and Patriots tickets, restaurant gift certificates, getaway weekends, designer handbags, and more. The online auction runs now through April 15th. Proceeds provide scholarships for after-school and summer camp programs to New Hampshire girls. Bid now to fuel her fire.
This grocery supply warehouse workers are here 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, doing their best to help fill the grocery store shelves.
It's been very trying. I've never seen anything like this in the years that I've been in this industry.
Associated Grocers of New England's 500,000 square foot facility in Pembroke is working overtime to try and meet consumer demand.
There's a lot of people that are buying and storing and hoarding, and it's really created some major challenges with inventory and just moving inventory.
Industry leaders say they've never seen the demand this high for this long. They say manufacturers have enough raw material to make the products. The lack of items on the shelves is the combination of people overbuying and not enough transportation and labor.
Understand that we have plenty of product that's going to be out there, and all we have to do is that we have to get it to them, and that everyone, if they take just their share only and not any extra, there's enough for everybody to go around.
AG New England says they're currently hiring and training new employees. Meanwhile, local grocery stores like Sully's in Allenstown continue to work with them and other options.
We're looking at multiple sources, too, to find other supply, and some restaurant supply people have offered to step up and offer some support as well. So we'll take advantage of that best we can.
And they think the demand will eventually slow down once consumers stock up, especially when it comes to toilet paper.
I haven't been looking for toilet paper, but I'm glad I'm not. Doing what we need to do, and let's overreact.
One more note, the New Hampshire Grocers Association is asking everyone to leave their reusable grocery bags at home unless they're clean. If they're dirty, they can carry bacteria, so for now, it's best to go back to the plastic bags. In Pembroke, Jessica Moran, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. U.S. features open to 800-point opening gains for the Dow. U.S. stock features turned around early Friday morning, pointing to opening gains after stocks merged to notch positive Thursday session. Senate GOP White House introduced $1 trillion plan. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
There is news tonight on the checks that President Trump wants to send out to American families. The proposal calls for this. If you make up to $75,000, you would get a check for $1,200, and it's all part of a major bailout. Some of that money going to business. And so our John Carl asking the president today, will you guarantee that that money won't go to executives and more stock buybacks? John is at the White House tonight.
Tonight, Senate Republicans in the White House introduced their $1 trillion plan to boost an economy battered by the coronavirus.
Can you still get this done, like, early next week if all these...
We know. We're going to get our ass kicked.
The plan includes relief for workers, small businesses, and the industries getting hit hardest, including airlines, cruises, and hotels.
Will you guarantee that the money, the billions, the tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars even, that's going to go to these industries will not go to executive bonuses or to more stock buybacks?
Well, we don't want that. In fact, some companies, as you know, did stock buybacks, and I was never happy with that. It's very hard to tell them not to, but I would tell them not to.
You can make it a condition of the bill. You can say that none of this money can go for that.
Making that. I mean, you know, it takes many, many people in this case to tango. But as far as I'm concerned, that conditions like that would be okay with me.
A big chunk of the bill would be cash payments to individual Americans. If you make $75,000 or less, you'd get a $1,200 check. Anyone making up to $99,000 would get a smaller check. And families with household incomes under $198,000 would get up to $500 per child.
And so let's get right to John tonight, because negotiations on this bill, I know, get underway tomorrow, John. Lawmakers hoping to vote next week, but even the vote could be tricky because a couple of members of Congress have now tested positive, John?
David, 2 members of the House have tested positive for coronavirus. You do see some proposals out there now to accommodate remote voting, but I am told that that is extremely unlikely to happen. What this does, though, is it increases the importance of having overwhelming bipartisan support for this bill so that even if there are many members who are unable to vote, it would still pass.
All right, John Carl tonight. John, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. Goodbye, everyone.